there's a rule that we decided at the beginning, but we do not religiously apply, that in order to avoid preventing progress, since not every team will have the time to implement every feature, we decided that if two independent implementations implement a feature and are okay with the specification, they should be able to merge it to the specification, even if the third or fourth implementations don't even look at it. But actually, in practice, we've always waited for at least a conceptual acknowledgement from everyone. And that's what we've done also with dual funding and splicing. We all want it. We all want some form of it. Maybe the exact details will diverge. But so in theory, we could just add it to the specification once CLN and Eclair have it. But in practice, we don't want to force those things on people. So we're still spending more time to let people have a quick look at it, even though they are not implementing it in the short term, to say that they are okay with it being added to the spec, even if they are not going to implement it in the short term. So it's more of a gentleman's agreement that we're not going to follow that rule very hard.
What are some of the reasons why other implementations have not decided to implement dual funded channels and splicing right now?
It's just about priorities, because all of the features we are working on today are features that require a lot of work, that usually interact very deeply with Bitcoin and with limitations of Bitcoin, that they usually open some painful trade-offs with either privacy of your UTXOs or potential griefing attacks for your liquidity. So all of these features are complex features that require a lot of work. So not everyone has the time. It takes a lot of time to implement them, and every team has a limited capacity and different priorities. So that's why we know that we are not gonna implement them at the same time. But maybe it's okay, and some team will implement dual funding in 1 year after the others. But they will have implemented, for example, taproot channels before the others. It's really a matter of what priorities you have for your specific products. In our case, we really want to prioritize dual funding and splicing because we feel it really helps the mobile UX experience, and we're not that interested into getting taproot changes in the short term, because we feel that this can still wait for 6 more months or something like that, because it doesn't provide very meaningful user-facing improvements. But other teams feel otherwise, because their products would really benefit in the short term from, for example, taproot channels. So Lightning Labs is mostly prioritizing work on taproot instead of dual funding and splicing. But eventually, at some point, we will also implement taproot. They will also implement dual funding, and we will end up with feature parity. But it's just going to take a while to get there, because we don't have enough developers and enough reviewers to be able to ship all those things at the same time.
That makes sense. So I just want to clarify though, in the short run, if only two implementations have dual funded channels, a third implementation cannot benefit from that today. Like if there's only two that have it and a third says we don't have it yet, they're not allowed to participate in that feature until they have it, right? Like there's no way for them to take advantage of dual funded channels or splicing.
No, they will have to implement it, yeah, or to wait for their implementation to support it.
So is there ever what kind of discussions do you guys have about, different forms of Lightning kind of developing over time? If there does get to a point where, teams start to head in their own directions and, maybe start to fall behind on implementing features that other teams have implemented. Does that concern you at all, that there may be some kind of split in the nodes, that, the different functionality of nodes on the network?
I don't think so, because all the very useful functionalities, everyone will want them. We are all very pragmatic. If someone wants to push for a functionality and it's really good, we are all going to implement it because it's good. And if it's not really good, it's not going to get a wide adoption anyway. So it's not going to fog the network. And we all basically agree on all the limitations of Lightning today. So we know what areas need to be improved. We know that those areas, we all want to work on it. And I think that already with the things we identified today, we already have a big backlog of at least 2 years worth of work. And that's not even counting what we are going to discover afterwards and add to that backlog. So, and this is things that we all know that we all want to work on. So I think they're really, I don't think there's a risk that the network will really fork in a user visible way in terms of features that implementations have. Because things like dual funding and splicing, these are features, but you could just say that they are actually just improvements. You can live without them. You don't really need them. They're going to make your life better as a node operator because they're going to lower the fees that you pay on chain. They're going to make your on chain footprint more efficient, but you could live without it. So it won't make you fork away from the people that are doing it if your implementation doesn't have it. You'll just have to wait a bit more and pay a bit more fees until your implementation adds it. But it's okay. You can definitely live with that.